Artificial intelligence. It's the elephant in the room.
It is everywhere in the documentation.
And that brings us to our first major insight. Because when I hear AI in construction, my cynicism kicks in a little bit. I picture a robot walking around with a clipboard, firing people for taking a water break.
Yeah.
So the big question is AI coming for the safety manager's job?
That is the fear, isn't it? That automation just equals replacement. But we have insights from the president of IQ Safety Solutions. He anchored a session on the future of safety solutions, and his take is surprisingly optimistic.
So he doesn't see it as a threat.
Not at all. Paul frames AI not as replacement, but as a super-powered assistant. He uses a specific term that I think is really important: hazard mitigation.
Hazard mitigation. Okay, let's peel that back, because that sounds like corporate speak. How does a computer program mitigate a hazard better than a safety veteran with 20 years of experience?
It comes down to data processing power and freeing up the human to do what humans do best. Paul describes two main lanes for this tech. The first one is generative AI.
Which we usually think of for writing emails or making funny images.
Right. But in this context, think about policy creation. A safety manual for a huge construction site isn't just a pamphlet. It can be hundreds of pages long. It needs to account for local laws, specific machinery, weather conditions, union rules, historical data.
Writing that from scratch is a nightmare. I can't even imagine the hours involved.
Exactly. Paul notes that generative AI allows for massive flexibility here. So instead of a safety manager spending 40 hours drafting a manual from scratch, the AI drafts the structure based on millions of data points, and the human manager refines it. It shifts the human from writer to editor.
That is a massive efficiency gain. It's like having a paralegal who can read every safety law in the world in like 3 seconds.
Precisely. But the second application Paul mentions is the one that feels like science fiction. This is where we get into computer vision.
This is the game changer.
It changes the philosophy of the job. Paul suggests this technology shifts the safety manager from being a cop to being an analyst.
I love that distinction.
Yeah.
Let's stay on that for a second, because I think anyone who's worked a job with strict rules knows the safety cop.
The enforcer.
Right. The guy everyone hates. He walks onto the site and suddenly everyone stops what they're doing. They hide the unsafe tools, they put their goggles back on, and they just wait for him to leave. It's a cat and mouse game.
Precisely. It's a reactive, punitive dynamic. You catch someone, you find them, you yell at them, but computer vision changes the physics of observation. Imagine you have cameras covering the site. They're monitoring 24/7. They don't blink. They don't get tired.
And they don't have favorites. They're not in a bad mood because they didn't have their coffee.
Exactly. So if the system flags a pattern, say, workers are consistently taking a shortcut through a dangerous zone near an excavator, the system doesn't just yell, it aggregates that data.
So the safety manager looks at the dashboard and sees, hey, 40 people walked through the danger zone today.
Right. And instead of going down there to scream at 40 people, the manager, now the analyst, asks, why?
That is the key shift, asking why.
Maybe the safe walkway is blocked by a pile of lumber. Maybe the signage is confusing. They fix the workflow rather than punishing the worker.
It creates a feedback loop that's actually incredibly insightful. It moves safety from compliance, just following orders, to optimization, making the safest way the easiest way.
It does, and it removes the emotional friction. You aren't arguing with a supervisor, you're dealing with objective data.
But this idea of objective monitoring leads us perfectly into the second big technology discussed